Okay, so I think last week we had covered all about the definition of mama drama trauma, which is what this class is for. Tonight's class is the fifth chakra of the Great Mother Speak Oracle deck. It's also so-called the blue cards suit, but you want to remember it as rebirth. The R in the acronym ASPIRE is what this suit is all about. In healing mama drama trauma, the condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto the child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. So if she's unwilling, unable, or unavailable to heal her own MDT, loving detachment is required for the child to live a happy, healthy, and whole life. So this is what this Oracle deck focuses on, and particularly for tonight with real birth and healing mama drama trauma, the willingness, the readiness, and the ableness has really evolved from the initial stages of looking at just what loving detachment is when we were talking about the first through the third chakras. And we were really talking about dealing with the shame, blame, and guilt. That's what the judgment is about with mama drama trauma. We feel a lot of shame, blame, and guilt. And in the first three letters of Aspire, the acknowledge, the self-inquiry, the processing suits, we really got to the point where we were at least able to release some of that judgment and begin the process of embracing our divinity identity. And that enables us to activate our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. And so now, since we've gone into the fourth chakra, and today the fifth, the fourth chakra dealing with that reality of I'm a divine child. So what does that really mean in terms of releasing this and living in loving detachment? That, okay, I've given myself the time and the space I need to kind of at least begin to process this. So how do I make that transition from the shame, blame, and guilt, which I still really, really feel? But I'm encouraged because I know about this divinity. But what is this soul contract all about? And that is what rebirth deals with, and why Great Mother wants us to, if we don't remember anything else as we continue on our journey, is that we are dearly loved. The rebirth, the incentive for being reborn is so that we can really get to the bottom of how these things show up in our lives, the manipulation, the abandonment, the controlling. And that is just a repetition of our relationship with our mother. And so we see that in our relationships with our coworkers, with our siblings, with our lovers. And so that's the foundation. And so with the heart chakra, we've just covered, okay, so basically I'm dealing with a condition where I assume everything in my life is not going to give me the love I need. It's going to always make me feel shameful, blamed, and guilty. And so everybody else is self-consumed and they're so distracted. I'm not going to ever be important to anybody. And so this hurts. And so all of that pain starts coming up. And that's why in the heart chakra, the lawsuit, if you remember all the lawsuits, what do they deal with?
The action that we must take.
Yes, the action that we must take in that particular moment to gas ourselves. So do you remember the lawsuit for the heart chakra?
No, I
Okay.
don't.
Okay, but we can go on what you just shared about what the lawsuit does. And it tells us the action we must take. And so when we're feeling like everybody is so self-consumed, I'm so hurt because we are projecting our mother onto everybody else. The action we must take when we get green cards in the integrity, I, and aspire, the heart chakra suit, which is the law of soul guidance and guardianship. The law says we have to let go of any and everything that distracts us from the reality we are guarded, we are protected, we are guided. And so, although we might still be in that mental state where we're assuming everything and everybody is just drama, what the law of soul guardian, and guardianship says, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. You are protected and you are guided. And that helps to take the sting, the charge out of the dramatic triggers that we get in our lives from telling ourselves the truth, because that's very difficult work, isn't it? It's very difficult work to always remind ourselves that I am a dearly loved child of the great Mother, Father, God. So if I'm experiencing this situation as someone who is so self consumed, they're just like my mother, and I'm really hurt, and they really don't see it and they really don't care. We're assuming everybody's like our mother. We have to stop and ask ourselves, okay, is this person responsible for me as a divine child? Or how do I need to assert my divinity in this situation? And many times with integrity, that requires us to open up to being reborn with a new identity. And so we're being pushed and we're being pushed to be reborn. So as we move on from the fourth chakra with regard to the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, the fifth chakra, the fifth suit of rebirth, is all about how that drama actually creates a transformation in our lives, in our separation from the MDT, the mama mentality of shame, blame, and guilt. So we know that as dearly loved children of the great Mother, Father, God, we do have what is called a cosmic calculus. We came here with the soul contract before we were born with our mother to teach us two things. What are the two things Mama Drama Trauma teaches us?
that we are about our divinity identity and about our um, that we are dearly loved children of the great Father, Mother God, who are never condemned or left alone or judged, and that we
Right.
also are deserved by to be happy, healthy, and whole.
As a result of that, yes, that is our birthright, as a result of our divinity, to be happy, healthy, and whole. And I'll return to that question, but you just touched on the divinity identity again. And our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole comes from that. And that's a lot to remember. And it takes a while for us to get that down, just like you recited. It really takes a practice, actually. And what the readings do is in the moment when we are faced with these dramatic, transformative challenges, is they give us clarity, balance, and confirmation of that divinity. Now, this statement that you just gave us is that repetition over and over and over again of that divinity identity. As children of the great Mother, Father, God, we are gods and goddesses, just like the constellations, only in human form. And so, just like they're bold and they're beautiful and they shine their light of exactly who they are unapologetically, we're not here to apologize for who we are and what we are about. We are here to recognize that we are dearly loved, divine children of the great Mother, Father, God, divine, who are never judged, condemned, or left alone. We can do whatever we want. There are consequences. Karma. Fifth chakra energy, that karma has to do with how well we're listening to that still small voice of the Holy Spirit, how well we are managing our yin emotional energy, this passive energy. It's not so much about the passivity. People have a problem with that because it seems like it's not doing anything. Quite the contrary. This is the very essence of consciousness throughout the cosmos. It's the operation of consciousness as a state of being. The yang energy is what it activates for its purposes. And so, how receptive are we to that? Are we drawing clarity to ourselves? Are we drawing balance to ourselves? Are we drawing confirmation to ourselves? Are we drawing shame, blame, and guilt? These are the consequences, but there's never judgment. Are we using our intuition? And we balance that when it's out of balance, of course, with great father energy. The law. Are we living in accordance to our soul contract? Which the question was asking, what is the soul contract of Mama Drama Trauma? What is it here to teach us? And that's the Great Father Law, the word, the logos, the active energy. Why are we here? What are we here to do? We are here to evolve in self love and spiritual independence. So these are the energies that are also in the transformative
Thank you for
process.
clarifying that. Thank you, because that was not, yeah, thank you for that. About evolve, what are we here to do to evolve in our self love and divinity and self independence? Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I've said it many times before, but sometimes it just takes, something for it to click, which is why we're doing this. And I appreciate you, for allowing me to see what makes it click for different people. Different things make certain things click for people. And I just need a survey of what are the most successful things. So this the thing I say the same thing all the time. It's this I say that every single time. We are here to evolve and self-love and spiritual independence, but the visuals, they really do help. So thanks for letting me know that. Trauma and integration is what we will be touching on next week. Okay, so these three areas, A to P, are the gut, directly engaged with the world, instinct and intuition, unconscious, immediate, practical, and direct. And so the gut is between, that is that root part of our bodies, that processing part. And the heart is where we are now, the transformative part, channels blood upward and downward, reaching out to the world. This is where we are now. After we process, we're starting to reach out. Dorothy meets the three to go on the yellow brick road. It's our inner life of emotions. They mirror her emotions, her memories, her images, her visions, her dreams of not being smart enough, not having enough courage. All of these things are mirrored to her as she reaches out into the world and our head. And so that is next week again, observing the world and the inner life of actually living in loving detachment, which is something we have to train ourselves to do. And that's what we do through the readings and by repeating the invocation of our divinity identity. Now, these are also correlating to three separate parts of the brain. The reptilian brain, some people relate to it this way. It's 50 million different ways you can break this down. It's the same thing throughout history. It has been the same thing throughout ancient times. There are three aspects of us as beings in this world. And this is the brain way. There's the reptilian brain, which is the most primitive part of the brain that we share with apes. There's the central cortex or the limbic brain, where in the central cortex part of the brain, we are beginning to put ideas with our own feelings and our own emotions to come up with a thought about our feelings. So our feelings are reptilian. Are we hot or are we cold? The most basic ones. Some people like to be hot. Some people don't like to be cold. That's limbic brain activity. And the neocortex, rational or the thinking brain, is where we create our own philosophies around those ideas. So, for example, I do like to be in the cold, and I like to be in the cold because I love the winter. It's beautiful, and that and the other. That's neocortex. So, what happens with any type of trauma is that our development is limited and constricted to the reptilian brain. We are operating purely by our instinctual feelings. This is important to know because being ready, being willing, and being able means that we are able to form ideas. Without the ability to form ideas around acknowledgement, self inquiry, or processing, we won't be able to have the necessary state of observation of ourselves necessary to live in loving detachment. Therefore, we will not have the ability to really know the difference between our emotions and whether or not we are objectively telling ourselves the truth. And we will be forever prohibited from any type of liberation or emancipation from MDT. So it's very important. It's a very serious proposition when we're talking about healing MDT. It's not something that is available to everyone. It is a possibility, it's a potentiality, it is a blessing. But letting go of MDT means that we have to actively and consciously grieve. We have to consciously grieve the shame, blame, and guilt that creates and sustains it, or will pass it down. It's very easy to do, as I find in my own situations of being triggered from time to time. And we discussed that. Grieving is a reluctant release. We really don't want to let it go. We do want things to be the way we idealize them. But as divine children, we learn that we can aspire to live in loving detachment, to grieve the mama, the drama, and the trauma, to embrace divinity identity. That's the aspiration. So the Aspire card for the fifth chakra is the first original edition of Androgyne we see here is a third quarter moon card. It's a double yang, single yin card, the law of destiny and free will. Destiny is, of course, what we are able to do when we activate that frontal cortex of our brain, when we activate that head part of our mental consciousness. Otherwise, we're ruled by fate. And our fate is that cosmic calculus in the stars that we're born with. You have to remember that we were born with, but
I
we've
have a quick
grown up.
question.
Hmm.
So I was trying to think through and process through going back to the brains, the reptilian brain. Is that directly tied to, say, the acknowledge part? So the first part, that's the mama, and then the second layer is the drama, and then lastly is the trauma. Am I understanding that correctly?
Um, when you're talking about the reptilian brain, you're talking about the separation part of the process,
Correct.
the root chakra, the second chakra,
Correct.
that chakra.
Yeah. That.
We're talking about the
Yes.
central cortex. You're talking about the drama and what you think
Yeah.
about.
And is that right? Am I understanding? Okay.
But yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, that's the answer to your question. They correlate to the three different parts of the brain.
Perfect. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was taking notes. I was trying to. I was like, I think I heard that, but I'm like, shoot, I think I missed something. I was writing while you were talking. So
No, I
sorry.
don't
Please
think I
keep
spelled
going.
that. No, I don't think I said that. I don't think I said that exactly. But
Okay.
that's really exactly what it is. Maybe I did. I don't know. But yeah, this is what the slides are showing: is that there are three different parts, and the first part is the gut. If you want to talk about the gut, the heart, and the head of
Perfect.
ASP. And then the IR is the heart part, if you want to do that. And then the E is the emancipation.
Okay. Got it.
Okay,
All
if you
right.
want to do it that way. If you want to do it the brain way, the reptilian brain would be the mama part, the mama being the acknowledged self-inquiry and processing. And the drama part would be the limbic brain or the central cortex, which would be the integrity and rebirth part of the healing mama drama trauma, and the frontal cortex neocortex part of the brain being the emancipation.
Cool.
These
All
have
right.
to, right, these have to be actively and consciously activated. And so we can't that the law card great father energy calls for. Father is all about actively working with the karma of MDT. Karma is our actions, and the law cards are the actions that what?
The actions that we're supposed to take within each suit for each suit.
Right. When those cards show up from that suit, yeah, they're showing up to tell us what we have to do in order to work with the energy to get the clarity, balance, and confirmation we need of our divinity in that moment. There's never, therefore, any judgment or condemnation, but there are consequences for being confused. There are consequences for confusion. And if we're constantly asserting our divinity identity and we're living in loving detachment, there's no confusion. There are consequences for being out of balance. If we allow triggers to take us into tailspins, which happens all the time, there's no judgment or condemnation, and we shouldn't be judging or condemning ourselves either. We just need to be aware, therefore, that when we do get sick, our neck does get out of pocket, or something does happen all of a sudden, I'm real, 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 real sick. Well, I'm out of balance because some trigger has got me. I've been triggered by something and I have not addressed it because I have the power over my health. Not everybody has that kind of concentration because to really work with balancing, you have to be able to work with your thoughts and your ideas about your emotions. That requires detachment. That's heart chakra. That's neocortex. If you can't get out of uh, the primitive brain, the reptilian brain, no, 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 you ain't gonna be able to do that. No,
That makes sense. Is it? And then, as we talk about pulling, one of the a lawsuit card, it's not always. Are there times? Because how can I say this? You're not always going to get a lawsuit card, depending upon the type of spread that you're doing, right? And also depending upon really just kind of where you are. So you may need to do some more work, or there, right? It's not a reason to be nervous if you don't get a law card, right?
there's never any
It's
reason to be nervous.
hmm it's just love and understanding and clarity, like we said, clarity and balance,
That's
right?
right. That's
And
right.
so, and it be maybe just the clarity of you might be in that seed, right? You might be in that seed planting phase, or you might simply be, the action might be acknowledged, just clearly acknowledge or clearly accept. It may not necessarily be, here is what you need to do. No, your doing is simply being. I need you to just sit right here and be and sit in this and understand, sit in the feeling, sit in this love, sit in this opening of your heart, whatever that might be, or whatever the cards might be revealing. It may not necessarily be, I need you to physically take an action. I might need you, and instead, the Great Mother might be showing, okay, this is a spiritual opening, awakening of your heart, your mind, your gut, or what have you. Yes? Is that
Absolutely,
okay?
absolutely, absolutely. All the above, all the above. And you are really touching in on what divinity identity is really about in a practical way. That's the practical, everyday life stuff. We all have all of these different aspects from the cosmos within us. They make us up. It's the energies that animate our very bodies, but we have different degrees of it. Some people, instead of a cup of sugar in their, pie, they do a cup and a half. All of us are like that. Some of us have so much Jupiter. Some of us have a lot of Taurus energy. And some don't have any at all. And we are constantly balancing ourselves because we're connected, and the energies are constantly changing. And so, yeah, we need balance. Yeah, we need clarity. Yeah, we need confirmation. We need all of these things that are within us because we are made up of our mother and our father. And so they're constantly changing. The sun and the moon, you see all these chakras, those energies represent the planets and the signs. This energy is constantly changing and constantly moving. And so what Mama Tra is just an experience for us to feel the imbalance of Great Mother's presence in us. We don't feel it, and as a matter of fact, the degree to which we feel it ungrounds us and imbalances us so much we can't properly even process our emotions. We're so disconnected from her. We can't even download our intuition, our brain, our neurons and stuff. Or it's been shorted. It's been shorted. We've been short circuited, literally. And what happens is we get into this situation, and it's not a judgment or a condemnation. It is for us to be able to evolve. We have to grow through challenges, but it's really not a challenge if we accept our divinity. If we can, through this struggle, if we can remind ourselves that we truly are divine. But we're going to have to work with Great Father energy very differently.
Hmm.
We're not going to, we already have too much Great Father energy. That's why there are only 7 of his cards in the 49 card deck. We already have too much of it. And so
Mm.
we're going to have to learn how to work with that energy differently in order to feel Great Mother.
So, and as you talk about, we're already doing too much. Is that how how, how can I say it? Sorry, I said that when you say we already got too much of that energy, is it because we quote unquote are doing too much, right? Because we
We're,
haven't been
we're,
able to just we're accustomed to.
exactly. As a result of the short circuiting, we're confused. We're,
Hmm.
conf- we're out of balance, and we're completely alienated from our divinity. And
So,
so,
like,
and so
as
the
an example, just trying to make sure I'm getting it, is there's some people where you may be having a conversation and somebody they're and you know if you're at a networking event or something, right? And there are people that are just talking just for sake of talking, and you just kind of look and scratch your head like, okay, but you're questioning yourself like, why did you even say anything? And so is that's what we're accustomed to always doing and filling in the gaps and go, 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 go. Whereas now we're learning to stop, breathe, take a step back. And
exactly,
okay, like
exactly.
rest in it. Okay, cool. Take a
Exactly.
beat.
Exactly. But the degree that you're able to do it is the degree to which you're going to be able to let go of that yang energy. And that's what the law cards are about. They're all about that third quarter moon energy of release, of letting go, of grieving. Great Father is what tells us what to do to let go. The lesson of Mama Drama Trauma is to evolve in self love and spiritual independence. But in order to do that, we have to grieve what? We have to grieve the mother that we want in order to
From
accept the one that
Get
we
the mother
have.
that we have. Yep.
But we can't do that if we can't even get above the um, reptilian brain. And so some
Mhm.
people, to answer your question, if they are stuck in just feeling, the instinctual feeling of hot and cold, and they can't even form an idea about it, they're doing unconscious stuff all day long. So they can't even get to the point of integrity
Right, right, right. Where they can be conscious.
because they're not even self-aware.
No.
That's a different use of Great Father energy. To be self-aware, you have to use a lot of yang energy, but it's a different use of it instead of you just doing at a knee jerk. That's using yang energy, but it's also using yang energy to say, oh, okay, instead of me doing this knee jerk, let me just listen for a moment to what is coming to me, what the situation is telling me before I speak. That's integrity. That's at least working with it beyond, okay, I'm in this situation, I'm nervous, so I'm gonna just keep on running my mouth. And you don't even aware that you're doing it. You're not even aware that you're doing it.
Right. Yep, yep, yep.
Okay, so all of us are stuck in certain areas of healing all the time. And this particular area is the last part of the resurrection, the rebirth part. And so we talked about the spread a little bit last week. We will probably be looking at that again if we have time. But it's really important to note that the rebirth suit It deals with triggers and tailspins. And so after we are telling ourselves the truth, those triggers come in that make us learn how to love ourselves. And so that's what today is about. Those triggers for learning how to love ourselves and how to accept ourselves. These triggers are shown through what's called the Vishuddha Nakshatra.
Mm.
This is the chakra above the heart, and in the original deck, it was the scene in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy returns to the farm, and she says, "You believe me, don't you?" when she's telling them her story about her adventure. In the revised deck, it's the Rebirth Divine Expression card, because as we see, Dorothy is expressing her divinity. They're just looking at her like she's crazy. That's all. And that's what happens when we go back into the world once
Yeah.
we have received our divinity. And the world just starts to look at us a little crazy as we are looking at the world. So the lawsuit is the suit that says what we must be done to receive clarity, balance, and confirmation. Because in that situation, we don't have much clarity other than our divinity, do we?
No.
We don't feel very balanced. We feel better, but not necessarily balanced yet. And
But
what
and you
confirmation
know
are
you're
we
headed in the
receiving?
right direction. You just don't. you you know you headed there, and a lot of it is fake.
Right. You just don't have the confirmation, right?
Mhm.
So what the law card of this suit is the law of destiny and free will in the revised deck, the divinity identity card. This is
Oh,
what gives us the clarity, the balance, and the what?
confirmation.
The confirmation that we need. Okay, so
Oh, I like this.
yes, this is what this deck looks like. This is the blue suit of
No, I like that you got the old and the new together. That's cool.
yes. Yes, I've been sending this to some illustrators so that they can see what I mean when I say these two need to be merged. So I just pulled the fifth chakra one out for the class. Okay. So in
Yeah.
this particular suit, below the rebirth card and the law of destiny that we've already covered, we have six other cards, don't we?
Yeah.
And what do those cards spell?
Okay.
Aspire. So we also have aspire, just so you know, within each suit. So the E in the rebirth suit is the Nefertiti card, and she, of course, was the wife of the world-renowned pharaoh, son of Amenhotep II and Queen Tere, the first god of the world to implement the worship of the one God. The R is, of course, Brigid. She is the goddess of the fires of Kildare, inspiring healers and the writers of the bard. And we have Osiris and his son Horus card, which is the rebirth card inside the rebirth deck, because, of course, when he was killed by his brother Set, who's there with the falcon head, Osiris is sitting on the throne. He kills his brother, of course, in that old traditional story to take the throne. His son, Horus, is resurrected by Nefertiti standing behind him, who conceives him posthumously. We have here the Sphinx card, which is the Face the Challenge card, is the traditional
Lot in that
card.
story.
Hmm.
I said, "Ooh, that was a lot in that story. That card."
Oh yeah, all of them are rich,
Mm,
rich,
mm.
very rich stories. The Sphinx is, of course, the traditional, long story short, old adage: when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When we are facing the Sphinx, so facing the challenge, teacher is an unexpected individual. Here we have Hekate card. Hekate is the three-crone goddess. Here she's shown as a um, fair woman, but she's the maiden, the woman, and the crone who sits at the crossroads. and you must pay her in order to pass. We see she has the sword there as well as the snake indicating that, of course, she has gone to the throat chakra with her wisdom, and the light guides her higher knowledge at this particular crescent moon phase, which is just crescent light. We have, of course, the new moon Baba Yaga. She's the Slavic goddess who is the old woman who lives in the house on chicken legs, who devours those who come near her and taunts children, all in the name of truth. You must find the needle in her haystack if you want to survive. So Hakati is the card in the deck of the I'm sorry, Baba Yaga is the card in the deck who is the wild woman card. She's when Dorothy and the three enter the dark forest on their way to the witch's castle. And it says, I would turn away if I were you. So those are the cards of the fifth chakra. And so in the revised deck, of course, the new moon card, Baba Yaga, old card was the dark moon card. Wild woman, mama energy. We have wild mama energy. Here, the chakra of speech, creativity, the higher will. And it means trust what you know, you know. That's the only way you're going to pass Baba Yaga. And Dorothy and the three, they knew that they were on a mission as divine children, the great mother, father, God, on a mission to take their power back. That is what the rebirth is about. And this is the card of the dark night of the soul. Indeed, the entire suit represents the dark night of the soul because rebirth is about sacrificing something of value for something of greater value. And in this suit of rebirth, just as the Osiris Horus card, as you mentioned, is the very entangled tale of what must be sacrificed in order for there to be a higher good gained. It is also the story of the original Mary and child. Mary had to sacrifice her son according to a lot of traditional religious literature in order for the world to be saved. That's why she's worshiped by the Catholics. But with Mama Drama Trauma and these images being allegorious, the mother of the people, the mother of the world, this is telling us in the suit that this wild woman energy of Isis and even of Mother Mary is necessary in order for us to really know what we know. We don't know until we go there, do we? We can talk a good game all we want to about this and that and how great a king Osiris is, and he can bring to life things, and he can do this and he can do that. But until we actually have to conceive of a child while he's dead and show the people, okay, until Mary, you can talk about how great your son is all you want to, but until he's on that cross and you come to him in the burial cave, Dorothy, we can stand in our red shoes, which symbolizes our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole all we want to, and dance on the yellow brick road of life. But until we go through the witch's castle and she's trying to kill us to get him.
Yeah, you can talk a good game.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about, how I love my mother, and, there's nothing I will never, ever do, and this and whatever. But until she tries to take our lives, our birthright, to be happy, healthy, and whole, we don't know what we're going to really do. And so this Hecate energy is the crescent moon energy of that sacrifice. It's when it's beginning to dawn on us that I'm going to have to make a decision. I'm going to have to plan something, crescent moon energy. It's the trick or treat. You don't know what she's going to be when you come home. She's going to be happy. She's going to be mad. She's going to be sad. She's going to be glad. Trick or treat. Hecate is the trick or treat mama.
Really? That's a name.
You don't know what she gonna be when you come up on that dark forest. Is she gonna let you go through? Are you telling the truth? Or am I lying? I don't know. I'm not that self-observant. I don't know whether I'm telling the truth or not. Am I?
Is she a little bipolar, maybe? So- Sound like she bipolar. I'm just saying.
When this card shows up in a reading, the crossroads card, we are. All of those things that we're projecting onto mama, great mother is coming to us and she's saying, are you being bipolar about your divinity? Or are you needing to give something up in order to see it?
Huh. Huh. Okay.
That's what the Hakati card is. It's trust your intuition in order to experience your birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. And it's not so much a lot of times that we don't have our intuition, it's just that we don't want to trust it. And when Hakati shows up, it is letting us know it's okay. It's okay. It's true. It's not a joke. We're not doing a trick or treat on you and saying that you're a divine child and
Oh.
you're God and you're protected. You really can trust your intuition, sweetheart, to be happy, healthy, and whole. I don't care what it is. It seems like you're going to have to sacrifice. I know
Mhm.
you think it's the world right now, but if you want to be happy, healthy, and whole, know that it's okay if you choose to do that. You have the
Okay.
right. You don't have to use your right. I'm just showing up to let you know that you have it to use it. The Sphinx
Mhm.
card is facing the challenge of doing that.
Is this a face with some lips in the
That
middle?
is, yes, it is.
Okay.
That is the throat chakra. The throat chakra includes our mouth, our speaking, our speech, our hearing, and our nose. So we speak about the ear, nose, and throat doctor. That's the fifth chakra. And so with the first quarter moon, we're talking about power and action, the decision to face the challenge. Again, the speech, this creativity, and the higher will. So we're getting to the higher will above that reptilian brain, above that gut chakra, and we're getting closer to our third eye with the fifth chakra. So this bold mama energy of the Sphinx is facing the challenge, and when it shows up, it's us having a fresh approach to problems or aspirations due to a reframed past.
Huh.
So now that we're at this place of sacrificing something so that we can follow our intuition, from the Hakati card, the previous card.
Okay.
The previous card,
I,
Hakati, was the crossroads, and we're at a crossroads of whether or not we're going to trust our intuition, even though we don't want to. We feel it'll be the end of the world if I let this thing go, whatever it is, whether it's a job, a relationship, whether it's 20 pounds,
Mhm.
whatever. I can't give up, and that's okay. We work with things oftentimes for many years. It's, are we going to sit with that with love? Are we going to face the challenge of doing that? And each time this card shows up, it's reminding us to take a fresh approach, or take a fresh perspective on this problem or what you aspire to do. You might
Mm.
aspire to be 20 pounds lighter. You might aspire to be in a better relationship. You might aspire to be in a better career or whatever like that. But at this particular time, in whatever position this card is in, it's saying, look at this from a fresh approach that you are being faced with right now. You're being faced with an opportunity to make a new choice based on you having done so much work around this already. Go ahead and reframe your past. Yes,
Is it
you.
your past or is it maybe reframe how you're approaching whatever you're dealing with?
It's
Or is
a.
it both?
That's what the card is. It's both. It says a
Okay.
fresh approach to problems or aspirations due to reframe past. So when you are at the fifth chakra, you
Mm-hmm.
can now that you've done the work to get above the gut chakra, to get above the reptilian brain, and you are consciously reflecting or at least creating ideas about your feelings as opposed to just saying, "Ooh, I hate it being too hot. I love the cold." You're at a place now where you're like, "Oh, I like this because it makes me feel a lot more comfortable, I really don't care for, this or whatever." You're at the point where you're having some conscious awareness of your feelings. You can reframe your past. Before you didn't. Before
Mm,
you didn't have this conscious awareness. And so now you can have that self-compassion.
okay.
You know, you can have that sense of self curiosity that, oh, I know in the past I didn't like this, but I didn't even know I didn't like it because what I really wanted to do was be able to wear short dresses all the time.
Hmm.
And sandals. But look at how many short dresses and sandals I brought down here, and I couldn't even wear them except for 2 weeks out of the year. That kind of thing, it can open you up to reframing your past.
Ah, shoot.
I didn't know this about me. And that kind of reframing allows us to then be able to develop and revise and reevaluate our present. This is the waxing gibbous moon Osiris Horus card, death and rebirth. And as we see in the original version, this is the card when Dorothy melts the witch, the Osiris Horus card. It is the death and rebirth card. This Osiris Horus card, the Divine Father and Son card, we see that the fifth chakra is all about this energy of letting go. Okay. Now, it's waxing gibbous. It's not completely full moon. Technically, full moon is letting go. But if you remember the story of Osiris and Horus, his father died in order for him to be born. It's death and rebirth. So we have a death of an old way of being
And rebirth.
and a rebirth of a new one. But it's just happening. The witch is just being melted. The bucket of water has just been dumped. Ice, uh, Isis has just conceived Jesus. It's just happened. When the Osiris Horus card appears, that is what has occurred in the position of this card. Wherever this card is, it is just now there's a letting go of something. And so it may not have physically manifested yet, but it may have.
This this brings to mind. I went to a talk about the Jewish festival. The Jewish honoring of the Sabbath, and there's a portion that they call the in between. That's what this reminds me of. It's in
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's it's not quite it's between the end of the sun is going down between what sunset and darkness, right? So it's very sacred. It's very um humbling. You are winding down for one part, but you're beginning that Sabbath and you are honoring what's to come and you are getting ready. You're preparing yourself for it, right? You've washed your hands, you've cleansed your body. Again, you're saying your prayers, and that's what this reminds me of. That's what this feels like.
Mm-hmm.
It's a death and rebirth, right? So you are and again, it's another, to me, a transition where you are going away from your old ways. You're getting enlightened, you're understanding something, and because you're saying rebirth, and I get that it's not death and birth, right? So it's the son is coming back, right? But there are, given that it's the son, there is the father's DNA in the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so it's like that form of that father is coming back to life, right? That DNA, that seedling. So that's how I can see, okay, I get the rebirth versus, hey, this is the son, this is a new kid, this is a very new person. But it's like, no, no, no. It's coming back again. So
Absolutely. It's a process. Absolutely. And this card,
Mhm.
when it shows up, is showing the beginning of that process. It could, depending on where the card is in the spread, have occurred,
Uh-huh.
but the feeling,
Giving
like
you
you said,
clarity
hmm,
and possibly providing clarity, right?
about it. Yes, about it.
Mhm.
That is what has occurred when someone absolutely does not have that clarity, does not have that balance or that confirmation about that inquiry.
Mhm.
Very good. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what this card is. And that's why there are two quote unquote rebirth cards in the deck. There's the Osiris Horus card, which is what we just discussed, this kind of nascent death rebirth part of the process. And there's the actual R card in Aspire, the rebirth card.
What does nascent mean?
It's that beginning.
Okay.
This is the full moon. After the beginning is the actual right illumination, purification, fulfillment, the actual fulfillment of something. In
Mhm.
the original deck, it's the throat chakra full moon card of Dorothy taking the broom. After the witch has been melted, she asks, "May I have the broom, please?" And this is when they hand it to her. This symbolizes the phallic symbol. Of course, Great Father is symbolized by Oz, who tells them to go and get the phallic symbol. And that's what Great Father does. He teaches us how to be a strong, activated personality. And the broom symbolizes our power. So while Great Mother gave Dorothy the ruby red slippers, the emotional security of our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole, those are immaterial aspects of power. But without those, that's why she had to go see her first. Without walking in those shoes, those ruby red shoes to reground us in the root chakra every day of our happy, health, and wholeness, we'll never have the fortitude to get to this point, to take anything back, let alone from a witch. This is the selfhood card in the original deck. In the revised deck, the goddess Brigide is the maternal inspiration of divinity identity that is acted out through the inspiration to realize an aspiration, fulfillment. So when this card shows up, this is when we have moved beyond rebirth and divinity identity, and we're owning it or need to recognize that that is what needs to happen in this particular situation.
Huh. Depends on where it is of the spread.
Right. This is the climax of the rebirth suit. All the full moon cards are climax cards of their suit. And what follows it is the last card representing the emancipation energy. This is the waning gibbous moon, reaping, sharing, thanksgiving. Original narrative, this Dorothy takes the broom back to the Oz. Remember what waning gibbous moon energy is by chance?
I got my handy dandy sheet. Hold on 1 second, please. It's going to say new birth. Reflection, recreation, reaping, sharing. Yeah, Thanksgiving. Yep, reflections. Cool. Woohoo!
Okay, yeah. And so that's what that Nefertiti energy is about. It's
By the
about
way, I'm a pause. I did answer before. I actually answered before I found my cheat sheet. So I'm proud of myself. I remembered at least the reflection part. Just thought I'd share.
there you go. There you go. Have a little brag session. There you go. Got to it, got to do it. Yeah, own your beauty. Own your beauty. It's just time to just share that with the world. It's time to share that divinity, have an attitude of gratitude about that divinity, and just reap the rewards of that divinity. When
Mhm.
this card shows up, just revel in your magnificence. Just share your beauty. You have everything you need.
I love it.
So there we go with that suit, and of course with rebirth symbolizing the fifth chakra. The fifth chakra is ruled by Mercury, which we see here with the yin symbol with the little hook on top. That's Mercury. And Mercury rules the signs of Virgo, its feminine aspect, and Gemini, its masculine aspect. So, individuals who are either Virgo or Gemini moon signs in the Vedic in particular, when they get rebirth cards,
Mhm.
it's usually talking to something that they are actively working with at the time.
Wait, say that again. If they get the rebirth cards during their moon sign?
During their reading,
Okay.
it it usually is going to reverberate with something that they're actively working with at the time. All the readings are going to be something that people are actively working with at the time, but when the rebirth spread cards appear in their deck, regardless of where they are in the spread,
Mhm.
it's going to have a particularly um, specific message for them. So, for example, I don't know whether or not you did the 9 card spread. Did you do it for yourself?
No, you hear me shuffling, right? Oh, did you hear me shuffling? So not yet. I'm gonna pick them now. But go ahead,
We're
because I
ready.
don't know the order. So I'm just gonna, you tell me what to do first. Which one goes first, or maybe just put them down.
Just go ahead and put them down, and I'll guide you to which ones to do first and second. Again, the discipline of actually making sure the cards is where they need to be, and the questions over here. Which of these are you asking? How to be self-loving? How MDT is affecting my life? How to assert divinity? How to use intuition? How to activate intuition? Or how to let go? How to create desire? Which of these is your question?
I'm gonna say I'll go with the first one. Why not? What the heck? How to be self-loving.
Okay. So this 9 card spread is honoring the MDT soul contract, even when you're dealing with triggers and tailspins. To your question tonight, how to be self-loving. Now, something has obviously triggered you not to feel self-loving, which is why you're asking how to be self-loving. And so the tailspin, has it already erupted, or are you doing the reading to avoid a tailspin?
I think I'm at the beginning of a tailspin.
You're at the beginning of a tailspin. Okay. And so what spread are you in? You are in the spread of divinity,
Mm-hmm.
rebirth, inner work. So
Mm-hmm.
you are wanting to be reborn from this trigger to be more self-loving. So you want to start with the center of your spread, the inner work needed. And the second card is the card above it. So let's start with the center card, the inner work needed. Which card is that?
Okay. That is Adi Shanti, primordial womb.
That is Adi Shakti, primordial womb. What chakra card is that?
That's a root chakra card.
Okay, Adi Shakti is actually a orange card.
Oh, is it orange? Ah, shoot. Okay.
The red cards look like glitter. The
Okay.
orange cards are more like paint. And so that's an orange card, that's second chakra. Okay, so that's inner work needed.
Oh, I
What is,
see.
okay, inner work needed is what? What does that say?
Womb.
Primordial womb. And what's the card above it? What is bringing up the inner work that's needed?
Synergy. Glide.
The
Quiet the
Gildeptis card. The Gildeptis card. Okay, that's the Navajo god. And to the left, shadow. What's your card there?
to
The
the
shadow
left
position
of,
card.
okay, the shadow position card. Hold on, let me make sure. I I don't know what I did, but I lost the thing. But let me look and see what my spread where it says in the spread. Shadow. Oh, okay, that's the right one. It's Demeter. Accept your feelings.
Okay, and so you have Demeter to the left, and what do you have to the right for what you desire?
Okay, that is law of divine mother, birthright.
Law of Divine Mother. You have birthright, you have Demeter, and over to the left, available support all the way to the left, all the way to the left, to the left, to the left. What's there?
Osiris, Horus, death and rebirth.
Osiris Horus is all the way to the left. And what is just below shadow? What's below Demeter?
Birth mother, soulmate.
Birth Mother Soulmate is right there. And what's at the bottom bottom?
Rebirth, divine expression.
Rebirth. That is the R card of tonight.
Mm,
And to the right, household wants inner work done.
okay. Acknowledge, soul contract. Wait, did we
That's
have another?
the
That's all.
acknowledge card. Okay. And all the way to the right, right.
Sophia, inner wisdom.
Sophia, inner wisdom. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so the center card is the inner work that's needed. The inner work is specifically the work the soul wants the ego to do with regard to this issue. So the rebirth card is about sacrificing something of value for something of greater value. So the rebirth spread is all about identifying what that thing is that needs to be sacrificed. And always what needs to be sacrificed with healing MDT is we are letting go of
The mother that we want for the mother that we have.
to accept the mother that we have. And
Mm,
it's the ego or the soul that wants to hold on to the mother that we have.
the ego.
The ego. So the soul is always with this spread wanting the ego to do some inner work. And so the inner work that your soul wants you to do is primordial womb energy. The Adi Shakti card is the scene in the Wizard of Oz of the Twister dream. So when you look at this card and you think about that, and you know that this is second chakra energy, second chakra is what suit of the deck?
Gut.
Second chakra.
Second chakra is sacral.
And what is that letter in Aspire?
That is the self inquiry.
Okay, so you've already got two symbols there to work with that meaning, and you've got the Twister dream. What moon phase is it?
So I Shanti is the crescent moon, which means is this the planning and rebirth? Crescent moon is the second one. Love. Oh yeah, that's the seeding. That's the planning season.
This
So
moon,
I just
this moon is actually the waxing moon. This is the waxing
oh
gibbous moon. This is the waxing gibbous moon.
okay.
So just with the symbols that you know, what does that say to you?
About waxing care. No, that's one again. So based on the symbols that I know, um, I think, to be honest with you right now, I think that I'm actually completely blank right now, which is not like me. So let's get with it, Chickaroni. Let's think. Is this more of just going with, I'm just gonna with this symbols, okay. I don't know what that is, but I know that it's the waning gibbons. I mean, so the waxing gibbons. So
Mhm.
should I just be? I should be in a position of gratitude and thanks.
It's the waxing gibbous.
Oh, and not the okay.
I'm sorry, it's the waning gibbous, I'm sorry. I'm looking at your other card, as I'm talking to you, you're right, that's the waning gibbous card, and so gratitude, thanksgiving, attitude of gratitude, what else do you get out of your card?
I think so. I think just kind of given that what I need to work on is really maybe just being thankful for the love and what I am doing for myself. So maybe it's even, I know it's not an acknowledging card, but I will be curious or ask myself, am I being grateful for what I have learned and how I am loving myself? Am I being appreciative of that? Given that this is a self inquiry card.
Mhm, mhm.
And so, um, and it's not root chakra, but it's the gut chakra. Not gut, I mean sacral. So that just makes me think that I am, how shall I feel like it's like I'm getting there. Like I am making real progress. And I'm wondering, have I just taken a moment to really appreciate that? That's what this is saying to me.
Mm. Mhm, 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 okay. That's good inner work. That's good inner work. And so, the
And I
inner
and
work
I don't and I don't think I have. This
you
is
don't
good. Good.
okay.
Go ahead, keep going. Keep
So
going.
you
Going.
okay, so, just so I'm keeping up with you now, I'm trying to keep up with you. Okay, and so, you realize that the inner work that is needed is for you to acknowledge that you have done work around this self-love.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, you need to realize you have done work around self-love, very good. And so, what is bringing up the need for this self-work then? The card above it.
So
Gildeptis, this is a full
yeah,
moon. What
that's it.
chakra is this?
So moon means I'm coming in like light is shining. I'm
Mhm,
bright. So
mhm.
I am approaching this with, it seems like with eyes wide open.
What chakra do we have?
This is the chakra is the it's emancipation. So this is the top chakra. So this is the third eye.
Third eye, eye wide open, okay. Uh-huh. And so the synergy, what does that say about the eye wide open, third eye?
So
Uh,
I gotta look that one up. So maybe this is saying that I'm looking for, it's coming up because I'm wanting synergies. I'm wanting things to get reconciled.
mhm,
Let me
mhm.
see. What does that mean? Hold on, Sophia. Go, go, go.
Well, you know what energy means, right?
Yes.
And so you know what the prefix SYN is, right? Synchronistic,
The same.
syncopated,
Yeah. The same going together.
coming into alignment. And so energy coming
Uh-huh.
into alignment, energetic alignment, things
That's what
coming
this is.
together, things coming together is
That
synergy.
makes, that makes sense.
So what is bringing up the need for inner work?
So maybe it's just bringing everything into alignment that I think it's saying that I need to really look at, am I bringing everything together? So have I synced up everything that I have been doing as it relates the to my self-love, right? So am I mm, is it working together, right? So that I get the full benefits. So as I'm
Well,
looking at,
Mhm.
So as I'm thinking about it is so for example, um, so if you talk about, hey, are you using the LTBS, right? Are you using your ABCs? But if you're using your ABCs, but you're not coming, say, from a place of love, you're coming from anger and frustration, that may not be synthesizing together what I've learned,
It may be.
right? So that's an example, something like that. And so what this is just telling me is maybe the need is just things are just not in sync quite yet. So just maybe having them to be cohesive so that they work in harmony, whatever that I'm doing for my own self love, so that I'm not undoing what I'm doing.
So what's bringing this up is a need to sync.
Right, synchronize, right? So going back to the synergies, the third eye, so using the wisdom to bring it all together cohesively.
That's what's bringing up the need for you to be more thankful for the self-love that you're doing.
Yeah.
What might be helpful also is to remember your moon sign. Now, this is where knowing our moon sign comes in. So,
Okay.
your moon sign is what?
Capricorn,
It's Capricorn in the Western. What is it in the Vedic?
Sagittarius.
Okay, so you want to make a note of which resonates with you.
Usually
Capricorn
Sagittarius.
Capricorn is ruled by Saturn.
But I've been
Sagittarius.
leaning, I think I'm leaning more towards Sagittarius. That's what it's
Well,
been feeling like lately.
well, we'll see. We'll see.
So,
Because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And so Jupiter is the second chakra. And so that's why we want to look at this now because the second chakra is ruled by Jupiter, and that's Adi Shakti. And Saturn rules the root chakra, which is your birth mother acknowledged positions of this spread. So you just want to make a mental note of that, and then we'll come back to what you're resonating with. And that might give you more clarity about what's bringing up the inner work and the synergy as well.
okay.
But great. So far, so good. So, what's in your shadow position with regard to all of this? What is it that maybe you don't see or you don't want others to see?
Accepting my feelings.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Accepting your feelings. So that's gut chakra energy. And in the position of what you desire, what is it that you want?
Birthright. Law of Divine Mother.
So, in order to be self loving, what you desire is to live your birthright, which is what?
Be happy, healthy, and whole.
That is what you desire in relationship to wanting to be more self loving, to be happy, healthy, and whole. Now, what is your desire being supported by? This is what you desire in order to be more self loving. A feeling of happiness, health, and wholeness seems to be like a condition. And what is supporting you to fulfill this desire in your available support position?
Death and rebirth. They'll
Death
start.
and rebirth.
I don't understand that one. So maybe it's supporting me because I'm changing my view of things. I'm changing the way that I've approached and seen things. Hmm.
Uh huh. Absolutely. Because fifth chakra represents what?
It's the throat.
And what's the throat?
Is I'm speaking my truth. I'm speaking for myself. I'm standing up for myself.
Right. And sometimes that requires us to sacrifice, doesn't it?
Yes, which is what we were talking about before.
And
This
this,
rebirth before is the sacrifice. Yeah.
right. And this is the blue suit.
Yeah,
And so
because I'm
this,
sacrificing what was comfortable for me, what was keeping the peace, quote unquote, in air quotes, for what I really want and to create the life that I want.
right, that happiness, that health, and that wholeness. Now, I also want you to look at your support with regard to this fifth chakra in relationship to the chakra of your desire. What part
Say
of your
that again.
body what part of your body is your desire?
It is my
What chakra?
what I desire, my birthright. This lawsuit. Which card is this one? Law of Divine Mother. Hold on, let me see.
The color tells
That's
you the
the
chakra.
gut. That's the gut.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And so this third
What
quarter
that's
moon energy is letting go, right?
mm-hmm. That's
And
the action I've got to take.
right. And so you
So
desire,
do I need to let go of what I desire, or do I need to accept it?
well, in your position of what you desire in order to be more loving is the law of divine mother card. And
Mm-hmm.
it's third quarter moon. And so you are desiring to let go of any and everything that keeps you from acting on what?
My birthright. To be
That's
happy, healthy, and whole.
right. That's your desire. That's gut chakra. Gut chakra is what in aspire, what letter in aspire?
It's the P processing.
Processing. So you desire to process your self love. You're processing, like you said, you're revising how you're seeing this self love, but it's really a revision that's not a second guessing. You're at a point where you're following the law to let go of any and everything that keeps you from what?
Being happy, healthy, and whole.
Keeps you from being happy, healthy, and whole. And so that's your desire being supported by the what chakra?
The throat chakra.
The throat chakra, which is higher or lower than your gut chakra.
Higher.
It's
So it's a
higher.
higher energy resonance.
Yes, it is. That's what's supporting you. And not only is it a higher energy resonance, it is also the what card?
Death and rebirth. So
Now,
it's a renewal to
it's the
me.
most, exactly. It's the most powerful processing you can do, I do believe.
But you know what's interesting though
Oh,
is that we talked about. You just said that there are two rebirth cards, and dadgummit, I got both of them.
that's a very powerful reading whenever you get both.
Wow.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. It's a powerful reading when you get both.
Well, it seems like there's a lot going on over here.
So, what's the status of your ego soul alignment right
Well,
at
ain't
this
that something?
moment?
I'm acknowledging it. That's what it looks like. I am acknowledging it.
Well, let's look
And
at the card below shadow because I have birth mother there.
yeah, isn't that brilliant? Isn't that part of acknowledgement?
It is part of the acknowledgement suit. Absolutely.
Okay. And it's root chakra.
Yes.
And it's a crescent moon.
That's why I was interrupting because I thought you were jumping over to the acknowledged card, which is the other side of the moon that can be confusing. But you're right
Oh.
there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry about
Uh,
that. Oh, I didn't even look over there.
That's okay. I know it can be confusing back and forth until you get it. So I just want to make sure. Okay, so you have birth mother in the position of your current ego soul status.
Right. And I think that I'm just acknowledging where I'm at. I think is
Mm.
and so that's the status. Like that's where I'm at. Is I'm in that phase. I'm looking at it. I'm right there. I'm in it.
You're in what? What does the birth mother soul mate card mean?
I think it means I'm accepting my mother. Hold on. Let me see. Let me go back to the book. Let me flip over to that page.
There's a table of contents, and if you just click the card, it comes up.
Okay.
And they're all in the
It
order of
does.
suit of their suit.
I got it.
Mhm.
So it says, I'm not being heard. Being loved and feeling loved are two different things. Okay, although you're loved, it does not feel that way because the present focus of the person or situation on someone or something else. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true too. Permit gives you permission to acknowledge feelings neglected or rejected as a result of not being met. Wow. Hold on. Let me go back to this position again.
Mhm.
This is in the this is in the status. Oh, so I'm not being heard.
Your what is ego soul alignment?
Ego soul alignment is where I'm putting away, and I'm trying to go back to like not overcomplicate this. So it's in Monica's terms,
Mhm.
I'm just simply aligning what my soul came to do versus what feels necessarily feels good, um, or
Very
that
good.
is expected of me to do.
Very good. Very good. And so if this is the position of the current status of that with regard to this question of how to be self-loving, right now where you are in your ego soul alignment is what? Does the quote from Dorothy at the top help you at all?
Listen to what Miss Question. Mm-mm. No, it doesn't. So is it that they're not in line with each other? They're not hearing each other?
What does the quote say?
It says, Aunt M, just listen to what Miss Gul- Gulch did to Toto.
Okay.
Oh, she's just I remember us talking about this because you was like, but listen, don't you see? Don't you understand? Don't
Well,
you? Yeah, that's I remember you. Okay, go ahead.
do you remember what Toto symbolizes? In the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, Toto symbolizes
Her intuition.
Dorothy's intuition. And so Miss Gulch was trying to steal him, and Aunt M, who's her surrogate mother, her mother for all intents and purposes, was ignoring her. And so your very soul is being ignored. It
Oh,
it feels like.
according to this spread. Okay.
Well, the spread is the positions of the cards. And so we're looking at the position of this card. And the position of this card is in
Oh,
the ego
shit.
soul alignment position. And so in this
Uh-oh.
position of ego soul alignment, with regard to you feeling loved at this particular time, self love, you may not be feeling that as a result of not what?
Of not being doing what my soul came here to do.
Well, that's ego soul alignment, but we're looking at the card that is in that position. And the card is saying that you might not be you, you
Being
experiencing self
heard.
you might not be feeling self-love because the
Mhm.
reading is to help the ego align with the soul. And in
Mhm.
that position of ego soul alignment is you might not be feeling that way at this time because
Mhm.
you're getting what?
Oh, I'm more aligning to my soul and my soul purpose.
The card. The card. The card
Oh,
meaning the card is
birth
she's being ignored. She's being ignored. Her intuition is not being valued. Something else is more important. Someone else is more important. And so as a result of that, you don't feel your divinity.
Hmm. Okay.
That card, all of those things that you read was neglect, wasn't it?
Does this card mean neglect? Probably does.
All the stuff that you just read. What would you call it?
Yeah, the ignoring. Yeah, got it.
We have valid reasons for not feeling loved. It's not just something that we pull out of a hat and we just making shit up. That's how we're treated. Just like Dorothy's being treated. Girl, you ain't talking about nothing. Shut up. I got stuff to do. You better
Yeah.
do what I'm telling you to do. Better worry about that. That's the birth mother soulmate card. That's her job. That's what she agreed to do. That's what we agreed for her to do in our soul contract to evolve in what?
Spiritual independence
In
and self
self love.
love.
Right. Because if she was there to console us,
Oh, one second. Oh, go ahead. Because if
if
she
she
was
was there
there
to, if
to
she was there to
console us.
console us, if she was there to nurture us and do all the things that we want, that we need, or that, you know, you were just reading, not her not being distracted by something else or something else being more important, we wouldn't need to love ourselves. She'd be loving us.
Mhm. I gotcha. Gotcha, 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 gotcha. Okay.
That's a root chakra card, FYI, which rules
Y-
Capricorn.
Yes, I do see the difference as I'm looking at them side by side. The red versus the birth brother and the I
Right.
yeah.
Y- And as
Mm.
far as resonance with Capricorn or Sagittarius as well.
Huh.
Now, what you want to know, just for future references, is the cards and their position to one another, the relationship to one another. And that's something for advanced class. But I'm just, letting you know that birth mother falls below the shadow. And so those are related to one another. And so
Mhm.
accepting your feelings is deeply impacted by the soulmate relationship with the birth mother at this time.
Okay.
That's what is causing you not to accept them, or for you not to want other people to know what they are in your shadow position, what your true feelings are, is this birth mother relationship. Now, the bottom card, why soul wants inner work. Why does your soul want to do this inner work of self love through the energy of Adi Shakti? Why does it want you to
It's
recognize and process your gratitude for the work you've already done?
um so that so that I can have divine expression.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so that you can express your true self, whether people think you crazy or not. Like, in the original card, we saw that, didn't we? Whether people accepted it or not, Dorothy
Yeah.
was, you know, she was like, this is what truth is. And there's no anger about it, there's no frustration about it or anything like that. You believe me, don't you? You know? And it's up to them whether or not they're going to believe, but having the fortitude within oneself to just say, I've been reborn, whether it's confirmed through the eyes of others or not. I've been redeemed. I know I've been redeemed. I know I've been saved. People like to sing and shout about that, but to do that, regardless of whether or not you have the agreement of other people, is a whole nother story. And that's why your soul wants to do this work, is to um, instill the sense that you have done the inner work to be at that place of just your divine expression, whether others recognize it or not. Now, how does soul want this inner work to be done?
Um, acknowledge there's an acknowledge card, but understanding what my soul contract is.
Mhm. That's how it wants to do this work of gratitude and thankfulness for the work that you've already done, is by acknowledging, "Hey, as painful as this has been and that it is at this particular time, I am gonna love myself because what? My soul contract is to what? Evolve."
Is to evolve.
I have 2 rebirth cards in my spread, and so that means, you know, this is heart above energy. I'm sorry if people gotta stay in the reptilian brain, but hey, I'm in the reptilian brain and other aspects of my life. But as far as this here is concerned, this is where I am. But actually, when you're working with great mother energy, it goes throughout every aspect of your life because it's the foundation of your life. What is your outcome as a result of doing this work?
So I'll get some inner wisdom and I'll have integrity.
Yes. Yes.
That's a new moon.
It's a
So,
new moon.
hmm, all kinds of wonderful things with new moon.
Mhm. Mhm.
So to me, that just seems like optimism.
Yes, it is. Very much so. That's the scene when Dorothy is at the crossroads, actually, at the beginning of the Yellow Brick Road and meets the Scarecrow and asks which way to go. And he says, "Any way will get you there." Very good, very good, very good. So that is the rebirth suit.
Awesome.
Did you have any questions?
No, I did not. Not at this, no, not at this time.
Awesome, awesome.